Well, I think the biggest thing is that the strongest champs in the meta right now are able to be flexed. So it's not so much about like the power of flex picks in the draft and the kind of versatility that it offers, but more so that these champions are just broken and you're able to play them in different lanes. So you just snatch them up and then hold on the flex until last, and that's very broken because they win most matchups and it's hard to find answers.
This is Azento from Esports Heaven, and I have here with me Vulcan from Cloud9. A big matchup today against Team Liquid where you guys were victorious. What do you think about just the game in general, and I guess Team Liquid in general too, especially with their new lineup of Jenkins in the top lane?
Um, well, for the top lane thing, I'm not too sure. I think maybe Bob Jenkins has a more abusable champion pool from what we've seen. I mean, I guess we'll have to see more from him because it's only his second game with the team, but that's my impression right now. And then as a team, I think TSM might be a little bit better than them, but it's still like a top team, and it wasn't an easy game. But I think we had our strongest early game so far of this split, and just like off that early game alone, we were in a very good position, and we made a really good play top that snowballed hard. So I think that was like the very big factor in the game, and I think Luca did a very good job of playing top lane, and he got very strong and was able to carry. So I think that was it.
So I noticed that Fudge ended up chunking out Jensen, barrier level 1, in fact. So I guess to put it bluntly, should TL just have not given up Gwen?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I think we don't think that Lee Sin's a good answer into Gwen, so we were surprised when they did do that, and we're like happy to play the matchups. So yeah, they shouldn't have given it to us if their answer is going to be Lee Sin. I think well, we think it's a winning matchup for Gwen, and she scales way too well after 2 items. So unless you like punish her very hard, she's way too OP. So no, I don't think they should give it up.
So King had just said on his interview with Riot that he really didn't have a whole lot of scrim time at all, which then leads at least the audience to believe that the substitution of King for Sven, uh, was that just not really planned at all then, or how does that work? I guess in the grand scheme of things.
Um, so I mean, we decided we'd have like a bit less practice going into the split because we're already going in with a good record, and
Mm.
we come back from an international tournament, and that didn't go too hot. I mean, even before going, we decided we'd be not scrimming too much before the split, and we thought if we have to tank like the first week or two, we'll do that in order to kind of protect our mental and make sure that we're not burning out. It's going to be a long season for us. It's 27 games in the regular season right after coming back from like 2 weeks after. So we were just thinking those first few games of regular season don't matter as much as us getting a good break and then going back into the split like refreshed and ready to go. And so for the swap, I don't know about like if it was planned. It just felt like the right decision for us. Um, and yeah, we would have had like little scrims with Ven anyway, so we didn't like have it didn't like suddenly happen and then well we don't have much time. It's just like we decided we'd have not much practice and then we decided to make the
Okay.
swap and did that practice. So yeah, it's not optimal, but still felt like it was the right thing to do at the time. Well,
Mm.
yeah.
So, how is it like for you as a support having to, have a new ADC, and kind of building up brand new synergy with this new guy that you haven't really played with at all? Like, I guess in a way, how do you take that in as a learning capability, or rather, a learning experience for yourself?
It is definitely a challenge, especially with the amount of time or practice that we had. But I do think like AC is the role that is easiest to kind of plug and play in the team,
Mm-hmm.
just because the way the role works. And for the learning experience part, I mean, I've played with a few different ADs in my career that have like different styles. Big like Cody Sons, Van all have very different styles. So I've kind of,
Yeah.
I guess, seen it all at this point. And I don't struggle too much with like playing with a new partner, but it is hard to like kind of get the lingo down. Like with Sven, it was easy to like just say something and he understands what I mean, and we kind of
Mm.
know what we want from each other and stuff like that. So that's for sure stuff that you need to work on, and that will get better over time. So it's rough with only 3 days, but It's still ADC role. You know, you clicks. I CC people. You know, it's not that complicated to show up.
So I've always wondered, how is it like being surrounded by all these personalities that may be a bit more blunt than normal? You know, because it's like the whole adage of Europeans are very blunt, Australians are very blunt, you know, and then you have this guy from Canada, you know, so like how is that entire team dynamic, I guess, of being introduced to these blunt and brash characters?
I think it's very good because people are being more honest, people are being more direct, and it's something that I've struggled on, like on my past teams, of like I'm kind of scared to bring up something because I don't know how the other person will react, or maybe I touch a nerve or something, and then the review goes poorly, and then that affects the next game of scrim, and then it starts like snowballing, and it's just a shit day.
Mm-hmm.
But with this team, I feel like we have no problem bringing up tough like problems with the others, and being blunt just facilitates conversation and it makes us go through the problems faster. So I think it's just a very good dynamic that we have in the team right now.
Mm-hmm. So, lastly, let me get your thoughts on all the flex picks that we're seeing currently. It seems like it's greater than ever before, and that's saying a whole lot. You know, given in the past there were like mages bot lane and stuff and whatnot. So now there's been a lot of that going on, even with you guys lane swapping this game with top and mid and whatnot, and then TL putting Lulu top and Lisa in mid, and like I guess, do you guys put a little bit more emphasis on flex picks? Like even some of your picks now are being able to flex, into mid lane and whatnot with either Lulu or Karma. So like, how does that whole dynamic work? I guess with your team and maybe practicing flex picks.
Well, I think the biggest thing is that the strongest champs in the meta right now are able to be flexed. So it's not so much about like the power of flex picks in the draft and the kind of versatility that it offers, but more so that these champions are just broken and you're able to play them in different lanes. So you just snatch them up and then hold on the flex until last, and that's very broken because they win most matchups and it's hard to find answers into those champs. So yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. If the strongest champs in the meta weren't flexible, maybe they wouldn't be so many picks, but it's just so broken. So kind of everyone has to flex these champs now.
Interesting. Okay, interesting take. I've never thought of that before. Okay, well, congratulations on your win against Team Liquid, and excited to see your guys' games next week as well too. This has been Azento from Esports Heaven and Vulcan from Cloud9. Thank you very much for your time.